I think we're live. It says we're live, so I'm guessing we are. Possibly.
You've probably got 2 live streams going or something.
I hope not. Please, no, not that this week. Let's not have that happen.
Yeah,
the only thing I don't like about this is we can't throw up pictures easily for people to see. Like if I'm referencing something and I want to show a picture, it's not easy to do that yet. So we'll see.
Well, hopefully you'd hope that everyone has enough imagination where they can just picture it in their head.
So am I showing up live or no?
Yeah, you are. You weren't for a second, but that's because I think it was just that like split second where they had to show it in between it being a preview and then actually being live.
Okay. We'll see, because it's showing 4 people watching.
It says 35 for me.
Oh, does it? Okay, it hasn't refreshed on my end yet then.
Yeah, remember, Eric, I did it first.
You did it first, absolutely.
Who said that last week?
I know, but it was funny because of the conversation we were having. So, yes, this is the new StreamYards thing. I'm not really sure how to use it yet. We're going to take it all in stride and see where it goes. Not talking Black Lightning tonight because I don't think you haven't seen it yet, right, Pagey?
No.
Okay. So not doing Black Lightning, and I mean, we could joke about Legends. There really wasn't anything.
I haven't even watched it. So
I mean, the only real big thing, and I think it was in the previews, was that Zari is back.
Yeah, it was in the synopsis as well.
And I mean, it's just, that's really the stuff with Constantine, and the 1947 stuff was just really boring. So I just kind of tuned out. Anyway, so we're primarily going to focus on Flash because I think there's actually enough stuff to talk about from the Flash episode to pretty much fill up an hour. I mean, there was quite a bit, I think, that we learned in tonight's episode, and I kind of figured we would. So careful for spoilers, you guys, if you're watching this on playback. So somebody's asking, you guys appear live? Well, I hope we are. Anyway, the episode title was Marathon. Careful for spoilers. Let's talk about it a little bit. If you guys want to do super chat, we'll pull it up on the screen and we'll answer it here. Again, we're going to focus on the Flash, but if you have questions about the other shows, you can certainly ask those. A couple things at the top. Let's dive into it. The stuff that was the chat that happened before we went live, because I think these are funny questions. From Frank Cardinal, why put all lead characters on your preview screen except Black Lightning? Well, it's because I love Thunder and there wasn't a lot of room. And since she's my favorite, I put her on my banner, and it's my banner, and I can put whoever I want on it. So there's that. And Mr. Wolfchamp, another question: why is Arrow even up there when the show is over? Do I even really have to respond to that one? Okay, so the Flash tonight. I thought the Flash was actually one of the best episodes we've had this season, and it's crazy because it was a Team Citizen Central episode. So what do you think? I think it was one of the best we've had.
Yeah, I'd say it's number 2 for the season, probably behind the episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best. Like those are the 2 best ones,
right? Because the thing is, I think Eric Wallace has been really good, but I was waiting for what episode that felt sort of like, to me, this felt like a season, like 1 or 2 episode in the way it was filmed and everything. So I enjoyed it. I thought the cinematography was really good. The tone of the episode felt the same all the way through. We got a super chat here from Vinny Cerna, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Paige tweeted you a link to my post-crisis timeline. So apparently someone there wants you to check out their tweet. So
I'm literally going through my notifications and I don't have a tweet. So either that happened in a dream or you tweeted the wrong person. I'm not too sure, Vinny, mate, but it's in the abyss because I cannot see it.
Oh, Connor Reed coming in with the stew saying, "What's popping, guys? What's popping? What's happening?"
Oh, God.
The Flash was pretty good this week, 9 out of 10. I wonder who the leader of Black Hole will be. It'd be cool if Grodd or a speedster villain was the leader. So, I mean, they were not kidding when they said that we were just going to jump into it in this episode. So we do have confirmation that Black Hole is probably going to be the big. Can an organization be considered a big bad? I guess they're going to be.
I think it's going to be more the groundwork, if you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the board over the villain will just like rise off the top of it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that Grodd being involved. I mean, we are getting a Grodd episode this season, as far as I know, right? So
yeah, I think he's going to be in. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure he's going to be in the two-parter. Like he's going to be the main threat, if you want to call it.
So with the black hole thing being a threat, we got to see Iris kind of front and center, and I know that there's a lot of people who have issues with Iris. I'm going to say this, and you guys, I mean, no one's going to believe me. All the people that already think that I hate Iris they're going to continue to think that I hate Iris, but this is the Iris that I wanted. This episode, if you were to tell me, go to any episode and show me what you want from Iris as a character, this would be the episode. 100%. I think this is the perfect version of Iris, and I hope that this is the direction of this character for the rest of the season. If you guys didn't like Iris in this episode, I don't know what to tell you at this point. I feel like this is exactly what we wanted. So do you feel after this episode that Eric Wallace has I think the best understanding of the character? I mean,
yeah, of Iris.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think he knew what direction to push her in, because the thing is that, like, I've always had issues with how early Iris was thrown into everything. Like, I think it was arguable. I agree with everyone. Like, Flash season 1 and 2 was obviously amazing, but one of the biggest issues they had was revealing to Iris so early that Barry was the Flash. Like, that was, and you might think, oh, it was towards the end of season 1, mate. Even if it was towards the end of season 2, I would argue maybe that was a bit too soon, because it completely stripped her away from her journalism arc, because automatically she's in Team Flash. Yeah, she's in that thing, and then they thought, well, that's an easy way. We'll just have her in Team Flash, and she's involved in that way. And even in season 2, when they tried the journalism stuff, it was always sidetracked by all the Team Flash stuff, because she knew that Barry was the Flash. She could go to Star Labs, she could go hang out there and stuff. But if she didn't know, then that's like a no, get out. No, Iris is allowed. Big sign on the door. So ever since that, it's just been a way just to have her involved and not really even have to try and do anything with her outside. And that was the cool thing in season 1, when she didn't know, was that Iris was like the eyes to Central City, which is what I loved about her in season 1. And now we're getting this sort of this thing that Barry probably wouldn't investigate or anything like that, right? And now we're finally getting it in season 6, and just makes you think, holy crap, imagine if they didn't reveal, fair enough if she knew it by like season 3 or something, or even at the end of season 2. But imagine if season 2 got to play it out, and then it built that up, and then it was able to continue. You could have had Iris having this cool arc much earlier. But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
So Chessmaster goes, how does Cecile sense weapons coming? That's not her power. I don't think that was it. I think she could feel the Dr. Light, like the anger of Dr. Light, or whatever emotion that was going on, and it just didn't feel right to her. That's kind of what I got from it. I don't think she was detecting the weapons. Yeah, it wasn't like some sort of spidey sense. I mean, you know me, I would get really mad if something was like, there's a couple things in this episode that I didn't like, and I'll talk about those, but that was not one of them, because I felt like she was just sensing an emotion. So I don't know. It says Amethyst here. I think this is interesting. Let's pop this up there. I would agree with that, Pagey. I think that superheroes' girlfriends should not find out super early. It allows for a better arc. So do you think, that's a good question, and we'll go forward with this, but do you think the shows have gotten a lot more relaxed about telling people about secret identities? I feel like Batwoman is a good example of everyone knows that she's Batwoman. And I don't really like the idea that that's such a obvious thing. And I think, what episode was it that Iris found out before Barry rewound time? It was like 6 or 7. And see, where was it at in the season? Like 13. I think it was like 13. It was a pretty good ways into the season, I think. But I honestly was like, when that happened so early in the season, I'm glad that they changed it up and then had to do the whole reveal again. But with like Batwoman, they don't have that opportunity. So all the people that know about her. And so with the Flash, I love the idea that we're cycling back and that we're focusing on Iris away from Team Flash. Because I think that knowing about Barry kind of pushed her into Team Flash early, and then she just kind of stuck there, you know? Yeah, it was 15, by the way, in episode 1. That's the tidal wave episode, yeah. I was hoping that would erase Cecile's powers. I think her powers are so vague, and I think that's why she probably won't get rid of them, because they're so easy to. It doesn't require any special effects for her powers, so they can give those powers to her and just leave them there. So Team Citizen, everybody talks this a stupid name. At this point, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff about it that seems kind of wonky, and I agree. But I would say that I believe that this is exactly where Iris needs to be. I don't think she needs like 3 other people on her team, but I mean, I feel like that might make things a little weird with so many characters being juggled between 2 different storylines. Do you think that 4 people in a side group is too much, or do you think it'll be okay?
It should be okay if there's enough there to go around, if that makes sense. Like if it is its own, like it feels like its own proper storyline and not something that's just playing out on the side all the time. I think it's fine having those 4 there, especially when really you think about it, like Cecile probably wouldn't be there all the time. So it's mainly 3 and then sometimes 4.
Yeah.
It should be. I'm intrigued to see what they do post this, because it just seems like it is going to be mainly Iris, especially now that she knows that it's Black Hole and all this stuff. Like a lot happened in this episode with the storyline. Like I even said in my review, it felt like it was 3 episodes in one. Like
it did.
3 episodes
Definitely.
of storyline.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Not, and you could say that. I was saying, like, even if the whole episode was just Iris, it would have felt like, man, there was a lot in this episode. Probably 2 episodes worth of with just Iris stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes forward in the next couple of episodes, because if it disconnects a lot from like being so heavy about the journalism, it's more just about, because they've already really broken through pretty quickly, then maybe that side, maybe this Team Citizen thing can get a bit dry. It just matters where it goes, because I think it's more going to be about Iris rather than that team, while before this it was the team more than Iris.
Because I think, at least in some part, that we're going to see a crossover between Iris's group and Team Flash. I think that's probably what's going to happen. And it makes sense based on what we're doing with the storyline. What did you think of the new Dr. Light?
Well, I saw it in, like, I got sent screenshots of the preview clip where they had Dr. Kamiya Hoshi there, and I thought, well, that's Dr. Light from the comics. So I was like, does that mean she's going to be in this season as Dr. Light? I didn't even, because the character of this episode looks completely different. Like I was calling her Lady Light. I think
she looked generic to me, honestly. When I first saw it, I thought when they said, "Oh, like lackey," because
when they said that she was like this Dr. Light, I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you could have made it look a bit better," but I guess it made somewhat sense. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what they do though with these like villains, like these past villains. We already had this Dr. Light, so what's going to happen with if there's this new trickster or something, and it's someone completely different or everything like that. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with all these new villains, or the villains that are now upgraded or changed in some way.
Fresh Sounds Florida says Allegra is there for no reason.
Allegra's there for Nash.
Yeah,
pretty much.
We got that tie-in this episode. I guess it was confirmed. We found out that in fact he does have a connection with her because of what he lost. So
yeah. They actually used her in a fairly smart way, where they used her to intro Black Hole, and then also it's a connection to Nash,
right, at
the same time. So they've actually used her in a fairly smart way.
So, and I don't think she's a particularly bad character. I mean, a lot of people say that she's not that good. They're not doing much with her right now. So
yeah, but they're not really doing much with anyone else. Like outside of Iris was really the only one that didn't.
And Ralph was absent in this episode. Like, where is he at?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think that was actually smart, because if Ralph was here, he just would have stood there going.
Yeah, but did they even reference where he was? I don't think they even mentioned.
Well, I think he's been doing his private investigator stuff, so I don't think they need to reference it.
Right.
That makes sense.
They probably will. Like when they come back to him, he'll probably say, "Well, this is what I've been doing for weeks and weeks and weeks." So,
yeah. Well, I think he's definitely in episode 12. I know that because that's the Sue Dibney episode. Yeah. I'd assume he's probably in episode 11, but it's probably just in the background. Well, I guess Cisco's gone, so he'll probably come in. Yeah.
So we need to talk about that, but let's answer this question first, then we'll talk about Cisco. Staggervore with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Did you guys see Legends tonight? Because it was preempted on my local affiliate. So you're talking about the State of the Union address, and it didn't affect me, which is weird because I'm on the East Coast of the United States, and you would think that it would have been like it would have affected me, but it didn't. I got to see it, and it's just an average episode. Staggervore, just watch it on playback later. It really wasn't anything to write home about, but I mean, I feel that way about most Legends episodes. So, Zari was coming back. We all knew that, and that's really the big thing that happens. They just follow that storyline with Nate. So, Ben says people still watch Legends. Okay, so let's talk about Cisco, because we found out that number one, he doesn't have his powers anymore. So that was just for Crisis. And number two, that he is taking a break from Team Flash. So did Canada Graphs, who is usually here, I guess he's not going to be, well, he's not here right now, maybe later on, but he didn't, I haven't seen any picture or set photos with him as Vibe. So I'm wondering if he's gone for the rest of the season. Like, is he going to be,
well,
like,
there's no set photos. Like,
right.
Really, there's no set photos of any episode coming up.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, though, based on what we got in this episode? Do you think we're going to be losing him for a while, or like the rest of the season, or maybe just a few episodes? I mean,
Eric Wallace said he's coming back. He didn't specify when. I think it's probably just for a break. He probably got a break. That's about it. He's probably doing a lot in the back in the last couple of things, because if anything, they might make it that he's getting a break now, because Daniel Panabaker is probably going to leave before the season ends, so they'll give him a lot of stuff that would fill in for both of those roles in regards to dialogue, if that makes sense.
He'll probably end up doing like medical stuff he shouldn't be able to do because they just need him to do it. That's usually what's going to happen. So he'll come up. It depends. But I mean, it would be funny though, because she's going to be gone, so he'll probably be like, oh, Frost showed me how to do this or whatever, if anything happens. Or they may bring in like a special character. But he lost his powers, and there was no confirmation that we still have a multiverse, which means that right now no one can detect it. Not even this new Earth, this Earth Prime. So I wonder if we're just going to not have any multiversal stuff for the rest of the season.
I think we will, but I don't think they'll do it till the end. And they'll probably do something where it's like maybe the next villain for next season is from the multiverse or something like that. But I think they'll eventually tap into it.
You don't think they're going to do like the dark multiverse and bring in like the Red Death that way? I mean, it'd be kind of interesting to try that, I suppose.
Well, they could, but I think you'd have to find the proper multiverse first before they tap into the dark side of it.
Yeah. So Mr. Wolfchamp has a comment here, and we're gonna show it up here. Why is Cisco aware of the new Earth? Did Martian Manhunter give him memories of the old Earth? So here's my thing. I'm gonna assume that everyone who is part of any of the superhero teams has been filled in on what happened. They were either given their memories back or they were just told what happened.
Yeah, it's also important to remember that Cisco made the device that Laurel had.
Right. So I'm assuming that's why. Also, another thing is that what was I going to say? I just totally lost my mind. With the teams and whatnot, is that in order for them to continue storylines, they have to be aware. So if we had a bunch of people on the show that didn't know anything, then they'd be useless for the remainder of the seasons for some of the storylines. Laura E says, what if there's no more multiverse travel for a while? Well, I'm pretty sure that's the way it's going to be. I think that we're going to move away from that and just focus on the multiverse is less important now that Black Lightning and Supergirl are both on this new Prime Earth. So I don't think we're going to be dealing with that as much for the rest of the season. And I'm okay with that. I mean, look at the show now. We're dealing with this. It's a post-crisis world, as they said on Flash. And I feel like it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be a good season. Maddie B Custom 199 Super Chat. Too many characters in storyline. Caitlin is big. So am I confusing? What is that supposed to mean?
I saw people saying it's because Danielle Panabaker is pregnant. But I think people just think because this episode is now that it was filmed yesterday or something like that. This episode was filmed like 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. Like she was hardly pregnant, like not noticeably pregnant. There's one shot in this episode where she's like, that's when she's talking to Cisco, and you can tell she like slowly turns to sit down because she's pregnant. But that's like the only shot where you can tell she's pregnant. You can just see her bum, and that's because she's sort of like bending over with like the shirt, so you can sort of see that she's pregnant. But that was it, and I was confused. Like, what do you mean? It's like in like the episode 16 or 17, which they're filming now, you will see she's pregnant because she's really pregnant now. But back then she wasn't. Right. Like, if you were walking down the street, you probably wouldn't have noticed she was pregnant. I think it's just one scene where she sort of like tries to sit down. If you try and pay attention, you'll be able to see her pretty small baby bump at this stage, but
You'd have to
like
really
episode
be
16.
looking for it, though. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like,
I was confused when I saw people saying. I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like one shot that you see for like 2 seconds.
So here goes a good or interesting comment. Where's it at? Right here. They did, from Laura, it goes, they did confirm that Harry and Jesse are dead. So yes, we know that they're gone. And it's very odd to me. I don't know.
Well,
we know that we're not connected to them anymore. We can't find them anymore. So,
technically, he didn't confirm they're dead. He confirmed that he wasn't able to. They're not on their Earth. He thinks Prime Earth is the only Earth. So technically, there could be a new Earth 4 where they've landed.
Or they could be on the new Earth 2 with Stargirl. We don't know.
Well, I don't know if they'll be on Earth 2 because I think the way that Stargirl said that it's a different style of Earth. But there could be Earth 4 that's in the vein of Earth 2 from the previous one, and then that's where they are. Just at this time, Cisco thinks that they're gone because he can't read the multiverse, so he thinks there's nothing left. It's just this Earth. So while it's like confirmed, it's not really confirmed. But we should just, at this moment, we should believe that they're dead. Right. I guess because they can't read it.
A silhouetted animator with a $2 super chat says Red Death equals Bloodwork powered Godspeed. So I'm assuming that is that a question or is that a theory that they're?
I think it's a theory, but I think if that happened, that would piss people off.
Yes, it would.
That would.
Pretty sure.
They may as well not do it. If they're going to do that, because you would annoy people. You would really annoy people. I think if they did that. Oh, God, I don't even want to imagine the comment section in Twitter if they actually did that. So.
Well, you could just do a video on it. Like, just go ahead and do a whole video.
Trust me, I don't think I'd be the one doing
it. Exactly. So I was going back and reading some issues of the Flash Rebirth that led into the black hole with the with all those characters, and I'm just wondering how much they're going to take from the comics and turn it into make it part of the show, because we know they're using some characters from that storyline. So,
well, yeah, they introduced 2 in this episode. I was sort of surprised.
I mean, and so I'm assuming that it's going to be very close to what we have. I mean, are we going to see Turbine? Are we going to see these characters show up and things like that from that series? Are they going to go that far back or no?
I'm intrigued because I'm not surprised they brought in Joseph Carver. I was surprised they brought in the Husk. Because but he just goes off anyway. Hashtag RIP F in the chat or L in the chat, whichever one. Probably an L because he just pretty much got decimated. I don't know, I'm intrigued because they could go super weird with it. They could bring in what's the guy's name? He's like he thinks he's like the god. It's not Godspeed. It's like
Oh, you're talking about the guy with like the metal armor outfit or whatever.
Raja or Raja. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm trying to remember.
It's like this. It's like the blue lights or whatever on him and stuff. Is that
he's like it's almost like a Savitar Godspeed.
Exactly.
Combo.
Yeah.
If you looked at him, you think he's Savitar.
Yeah.
Rajan, I think it's Rajan. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
It's Rajin, right? Yeah, Rajan.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like it's definitely not Raisin. Yeah, Rajan means God of Light. Is it like I guess like a Hindu thing? I guess similar to Savitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could do him because it's very similar. It almost is Savitar-esque. So I guess if they were willing to do a Savitar suit, they could do that. Mina Darwan, like it wouldn't surprise me if they brought her in.
What about the female negative Flash?
That's Mina Darwan.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw the picture of it and I didn't remember. I've never read that story, so I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, like I'm intrigued to see what they do because if it seems that like Flash Rebirth seems to be all up for grabs because they're going like stuff from the Godspeed and Black Hole arc all the way to some other crap as well. So
yeah,
I'm intrigued to see what it is, what they do.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to use all of Flash Rebirth because they could literally do it in they could use it for a couple of different storylines in a couple of different seasons, but
they could make them like bigger stories than what they were in the comic because you could stretch those out over several episodes.
Well, they made Bloodwork into a whole thing. Bloodwork's hardly in the comic. He's in the comic for like his story is short. His story is super. It's like a filler story in the comic between two things.
So Staggervore with a 199 super chat. Thank you so much, you guys. Is Nash now the primary Wells of Earth Prime? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the way they're setting it up. He he is going to be filling in for Cisco. This is interesting. Do we know if that Wells is actually smart, or is he just I mean, I know he's smart, but like in what way? Is he just a really good adventurer? I'm not really sure. I think
he's
Cisco's
smart, but
fill
not
in
like
for me, and I'm like, okay.
I think he's smart, but not like OG or like Harry Wells smart. He's not that smart. Like he's smarter than HR and smarter than Sherlock, but I don't think he's like smart, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So here we go. Silhouetted animator with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. You said if Earth X merged with Earth 1, would that mean Pennyworth could fit in the Arrowverse because in that show, the Germans control London onto the 60s? I don't think any show that is not a CW show got merged into Earth Prime. I think it's just the shows that we know, and that's strictly for like the business side of it. Like, yeah, it doesn't make much sense because certain characters should have crossed over and whatnot, but they have to do it because some shows air on different platforms. So I don't think Pennyworth would, because Pennyworth is like a Stars show, I think. So I don't even think that would even be. It's either Stars or it's one of the.
No, it's even lower than Stars.
Is it? Lower.
What is it? It's like, is it Pix or something? Like,
yeah, Epix maybe.
Epics.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. I don't think we would ever see that connection happen with those characters. So let's see. Any more super chats before we move on? No, I don't think so. So let's talk a little bit about the stuff with Barry and Diggle, because I think that was it wasn't as informative as it was just a way to close up that gap between Barry and Oliver from previously. Did you think that storyline with Leanne Yu was going to go anywhere, or did you feel like it was just going to be for this episode?
Well, I didn't think it would be going like anywhere drastic, but I was underwhelmed by it. Like, it felt sort of like they needed to do something with Barry in the episode quickly, so they just thought up something with Diggle, because it really, if you think about it, take it out of the episode's not any different.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's just like, well, it's the Flash. We got to have Barry in it, so let's just do this storyline.
Yeah,
and they can film it. They probably filmed it outside of Crisis, to be outside of this episode's filming, because Grant was filming Crisis when this episode was filming. So if anything, they maybe. Well, he didn't even interact with like anyone else apart from Iris and Diggle,
right?
And that jitter scene. So if anything, they might have filmed it outside of the others filming this episode.
Well, because Leanne Yu was a set for part of Crisis, so that was easy for him to just do that scene, and Diggle was already there. So they probably just filmed it one of the days that they were there for Crisis. Yeah,
so, and it seemed like that, they probably just filmed it really quickly. Maybe like, as I said, as you said, like one day, and that was it.
So there was a lot of people that were upset from the get-go that Diggle was giving Barry Oliver's mask. They're like, oh, this should have gone to Mia or William or something. And I'm like, it kind of makes sense because Barry's the one that gave Oliver that mask. So that was sort of just a symbolic passing of showing some love to Barry for everything he's done or whatever, sort of, because now the Flash is the OG show in the Arrowverse. So it was sort of, to me, it was symbolic or whatever. Did you think it was appropriate to give the mask back to Barry? Were you one of the people that should?
Yeah, if you're one of those people saying, oh, all of us should have got it, and me, I should have got it, you're an idiot. Like, so stupid. Like, I can't believe it. Like, what did you drink? Stupid juice this morning? Like, what the stupidest thing I've heard. I think they've got enough. They probably got Oliver's corpse hung up in like some weird butcher room or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got it, but they got it. Yeah, I should have gone back to Barry. He gave it to him. He paid for it. He paid for the materials. So like, I spent money on that. Can I
thought it was funny though, that scene where he was talking to Diggle about the smudge on the mask. It reminded me of season 1 Barry. He's like, look at the smudge here. Is this, could this possibly mean something? And I was like, oh, okay. So we're going back to like season 1. I'm okay with that. Also, I think Barry in this episode, at least in the opening scene with Jitters, which, by the way, what do you think of the redesign of Jitters? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I honestly couldn't care less.
No, I mean, it felt like to me like it was more CW. I don't know why. Like, it just felt like all the other CW.
Well, did they
or whatever?
Did like another show have to use it for something? That's what people were saying, that another show had to use it for something, and that's why they got rid of jitters early on, because another show used it.
Yeah, I believe it.
I've been able to think of what show would have used that set.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea.
I have no idea. I'm trying to think, because was it any?
It wouldn't have been All American. It wouldn't have been All American.
Well, they film in LA.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, I think they're the only show that films in LA now.
Was it Nancy Drew? Maybe.
I'm trying to think what show it would have been. I was trying to think if it was any of the other DC shows, but I don't think it would have been.
Mm-mm. Unless they needed it for something crisis related and we just didn't recognize it. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
God, I can't remember. Yeah, I know what show would have used it, but people were saying that another show that films on that lot, like the Vancouver studios, like they need another set. And it was like, well, it's just jitters randomly now, but we can, you can use it for this period.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I thought the new design was cool. I liked it better than the old one, but it looked more CW to me. So I don't know. Somebody, Savatarik 2004 said, to be honest, I literally forgot the jitters was destroyed in the premiere. I mean, yeah, it's been a while, so wouldn't be surprised. Riverdale, I don't think it would be Riverdale. Riverdale's got plenty of sets, so I don't think it would be Riverdale. It would have to be one of the new shows or a show that's trying to use a new location. And Riverdale's kind of Riverdale, so I don't think it would be.
Yeah, I don't know what would have used it. Yeah, I don't know what show would have used it.
So let's talk a little bit about Iris's scene with Joe, which I thought was probably one of the best scenes in the episode, where he was talking to her about her going out and doing all these things she was doing and stuff. And I felt like it was old school Joe again. All the episodes feel better when they have at least one like Joe pep talk in them. And so I thought that was interesting with him talking to Iris. So do you think moving forward that this is going to make Iris even more hungry for stuff like these kinds of stories? Or do you think it's going to make her more worried about it? Because at the end with Barry and Iris talking about like the post-crisis world or whatever, it seemed like I wasn't sure if we're going to see her continue to be this bold or if she's going to be more like sitting behind the computer and just typing.
Well, I think that was the whole thing. I think she maybe was going to take a step back and then, I got sucked into a mirror. Silver Surfer grabbed me.
Yeah, so let's want to talk about that. Is that Mirror Master?
Because I think that Joe scene actually sort of becomes irrelevant once that thing at the end happens. Because if you look at the trailer for next week, it looks like Iris went, "Screw you, Dad. I'm not doing what you said. I'm going to do the opposite."
Yeah, even Barry's like, "You're not the same as you were before. You're different," or something like that. So I wonder what happens in the mirror. Is that going to be Mirror Master? Are we confirmed on that? Or
well, it seems that Eva McCulloch got either like, I don't know. I know we're getting an origin story for her because it's in the trailer. So I don't know if it's next week. If anything, it's next week because it wouldn't surprise me if we get like a opening 5 to 10 minute sequence where we see what happened to her on the particle accelerator incident. Then we see her with Iris in the mirror world, and then she lets Iris out or something along those lines. I'm intrigued to see how they handle it. My one fear is, and I saw people bring this up, is that they use Iris's time in the mirror world as like flashbacks, which I don't really like it when the Flash does flashbacks because I don't think it works with their storytelling. So hopefully they don't do that. I'd rather just tell it in a linear way, just show all of Iris's time in there, maybe in a quick condensed way, and then have her come out.
So you mean like while she's out of the mirror, every once in a while we'll flash back to her inside?
Yeah,
the mirror,
like a trigger word or something would make just it flash back, and I'd hate it if they did that. So I don't know when Eva McCulloch shows up. I'm assuming it's episode 11 because I think I remember them announcing the casting information when they were about to film this episode. Because I think they announced her, and then they went on a break, and then surely when they came back, they announced the Sue Dearborn character.
So this thing about Iris, and I know people are probably like, "Oh, you keep talking about Iris," but I mean, this was a very Iris heavy.
Well, I think it could be weird if you talk too much about Barry from this episode, like you did nothing.
So with Iris coming out of the mirror and her acting different, do you think that was just for us to see in the trailers and that she's not actually going to be different? Because some people were saying they think it's not going to be the same Iris, that it's going to be a different Iris.
I think it's going to be our Iris, but I just think it's going to be something different, or maybe she's told something by Eva McCulloch that just puts her like in the, well, screw this, I'm going to go extra hard on trying to take them down or something like that. Yeah. Or maybe Eva McCulloch can't get out of there. She's stuck in there. Maybe she can let Iris out, but she can't get out. And it's something about, because I think one of the big look, and she might be a villain. She might be the villain of the season. But I think the biggest misconception is just straight out believing that Eva McCulloch's going to be the villain for the season. Mira Master's going to be the villain. I think it's going to be one of those things where, no, I think she's just legitimately trapped in there. And if anything, she might become like a bit of an ally.
So as far as people saying, was this the best Iris episode? I would say it's probably the
well, yeah, because a lot of the other Iris episodes, let's be completely honest, been pretty shit.
Compare this one to Run Iris Run.
Yeah. You know what the irony of Run Iris Run is?
What's that?
Eric Wallace wrote Run Iris Run.
Did he really?
Yeah. But then again, he didn't come up with a concept. He would have been said, this is the concept, right around it.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of the things that bugged me. It's time for me to rant. Everybody's been waiting for me to rant. So it's time for me to rant about something from this episode that literally made me so upset I had to pause it. And I was like,
does it start with an H?
An H?
Yeah.
Wait, part of it starts with an H, yes. So
wait, let me try and think of it.
Okay, think of it. Starts with an H. It didn't make sense. It was shown in this episode, and I was like, how is that possible?
Well, I'm thinking hologram.
Yes.
Hologram of Iris getting shot.
No.
Hologram projector out of my eyes.
No.
Hologram of Mia Smoke.
The hologram of Harrison Wells from Earth 2. And the reason why that bothered me is this is not Earth 1 continued. This is a brand new Earth built from the ground up. There should be no remnants of Earth 2 left on this new Earth. They should all be gone, including holograms of people who no longer exist on this Earth. It shouldn't even be there because it wasn't like it was completely destroyed and rebuilt. So how would he have that message from Harrison Wells on Earth 2?
I don't know. I guess it just matters on the...
Fair enough, they remember them, but they wouldn't actually have like...
Well, it matters if Oliver's just like... Because we don't necessarily know how Oliver constructed the universe. Where there's just like whatever there was before happened. We don't really... Like, it's pretty vague. Like, it's...
No, I believe that a lot of the stuff was still there, but I think that those kinds of things would have no reason to still be around. Like, fair enough if he remembered stuff that Harry told him, but actually having a hologram of Earth 2 Harrison Wells on a brand new Earth feels like that was kind of dumb. I don't
know. It depends because we don't know how necessarily it works. Whether it is just like whatever was there before gets, what do you call it? Just
yeah, but I mean, they went through the trouble of changing villains and stuff. Like, I think that would be something that it would be a huge oversight to just leave remnants of other Earths on Earth Prime. Like not people that have been placed there by Oliver, but things that seem like they were just afterthoughts. That's just not that's just my thoughts on it. Like, I don't know. We might find out later on there's something else going on there, but how did you feel about Cisco not having his powers? I forgot to ask you about that. Do you think that makes sense within the context of things, or do you think he should have kept them?
I never thought he was going to have his powers because we knew that there wasn't going to be any sort of sense of the multiverse. Because I thought, well, one of Cisco's big traits is the whole being able to sense it. So I was like, what's he going to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and I think all of his powers came from the ability to vibe the multiverse. So he
even like transporting from a place on Earth 1 to another place on Earth 1. Well, his
requires
Earth,
the multiverse, yeah.
It required that sort of tapping into it, so he wouldn't even been able to do that.
So
they even said like, yeah,
even if he had his powers, he wouldn't be able to do anything. So I mean,
all he'd be able to do is blast people. I guess that's about it. He wouldn't be able to even like sensing things, like touching stuff, and be able to like go, okay, oh, Barry's over here, or Barry 5 minutes ago was over here, and stuff like that. He wouldn't be able to do that,
right?
So I thought, well, there's no point. There's no point. I sort of don't mind what they did with him in this episode. So yeah, I think it would have been like, you could have given these powers, but he would have been so useless. It would have been.
This is a good point here.
Yeah.
Do people who remember Earth 1 have no memory of Earth Prime? Cisco didn't remember buying the shirt that he was wearing. That's a really good point. I mean, like, how did he How did he forget that? I thought that they didn't forget things. They just were given additional memories because he wasn't a Paragon, which means he would have remembered his Earth Prime as well as pre-Crisis. So he wouldn't have forgotten that he purchased a shirt. I mean, that's
well, technically, wouldn't even with the villain stuff, wouldn't it? Shouldn't they all remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
I mean, yeah, 100%.
I think the best way they should have done it was that if Martian Manhunter, and it could be revealed later on that this is what happened. They're just like it was in a short space of time, so they didn't make this clear. But they could just make it's one line, and it makes it so clear where that doesn't become like an issue. Just say, I gave you these memories. Now you don't remember specifically what happened in Earth Prime, or they cross over to the point where you don't know which one is the
real memory, which one is
actual
the
event
memory
of this timeline.
Yeah.
So say like there was an event in whatever it might be, like just say like the singularity at the end of season 1. You don't know necessarily what specific where Zoom came from. You might not be 100% sure whether it actually was from the multiverse or it was from this other unknown spot or something like that. So they could do something like that. I don't know why they need to do that. They might do it, when things are more clear, and they might jump into more of a like what do you call it, like post-examination or post-breakdown of Crisis and how it affects them. But I don't know why they wouldn't do it off the get-go.
Yeah, UNE Music says, but Cisco forgetting he bought that shirt is another good indicator of how not well it was handled. I mean, you could say there are parts that they didn't handle very well. And I think ultimately a lot of it will probably just be chalked up as timey-wimey reality altering stuff. And that's just the way it is. I
think the main thing you'll notice, or the main thing you'll find, is it's about the shows maybe not 100% knowing what each of them are going to say in their episode. So you don't want the Flash saying something that completely negates something that, say, Supergirl did last week or the next week and stuff like that.
Right.
And it is like there should be more crossing over, but I don't think it's as easy as that. Like when there's 5 shows, arguably 6 if you
and we're adding more shows, so it's going to be harder.
So it's just, especially when the shows are written and developed and filmed at different stages, it's not as easy just saying, "Oh, why didn't I have a meeting and do this?" Things just happen, and things happen on set as well with dialogue changes. So
I think also one of the things in this episode that seemed pretty clear to me is it felt like the special effects were kind of better. Like it just seemed like they were better effects in this episode, like with the glass visors for Dr. Light, the Mirror Master stuff. Just everything felt sharper. I don't know if something has happened or maybe they just had a different team working on it.
You know what the funniest thing was? There was even just that camera angle when Iris was in the van. It was obviously like a GoPro almost. Like they used a GoPro for when she swung the car. I don't think I've ever seen that on the show. And I was just oh, that's random.
So another thing I noticed, and this is something they don't do very often, is usually on TV shows, when someone is talking, unless you're showing something deceptive or something that you need to pay attention to off screen, they usually focus on the person talking. But a couple times in this episode, when someone was talking, they were focused on the other characters, listening to them. And that's something, I know it's such a weird thing, but that's something they don't normally do on TV shows. So I don't know who directed this episode, but it was definitely different from some of the other stuff. I liked it. I thought it was great. I thought a lot of it was great. It felt like season 1 to me. And that's something we haven't had in a while. So with Black Hole coming up and the idea of this new organization and with Iris just kind of going headstrong into it, do you think we're going to see weapons using Speed Force energy? Do you think we're actually going to go that far into it? Like we're going to see them manipulating that to create tech? Or do you think that's going to stay in the comic books and we're not going to see anything like that? Because we know that Godspeed being cloned is something that we're going to have to come back to at some point. So
it matters how many elements from DC Rebirth, because as I said, they're using stuff from Black Hole, but then as soon as we jump into episode 13, we're jumping I'm not even joking, a year and a half, 2 years ahead worth of comics to a completely different storyline. But Black Hole's still going to be relevant most likely. So to be honest, I don't really care if they use the whole Speed Force thing. To be honest, because it was set up differently in the comics as well. For them to do it, I think in the show, you're sort of asking the writers to quickly put it in there. They could do it easily. I don't think it'd be too hard, but it was set up differently in the comics,
right?
Vastly differently.
Yeah.
So I really mind if they just make it that it's just dark matter powered. I think that's actually maybe the better way to go, just because of how the show's been set up since season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'd rather them just do it that way, to be completely honest.
So Jack Butler goes, that intro though. Did you notice the new intro?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be used every week though, because it's long. It's a long intro.
And also, spoiler alert for you, Legends has a new intro as well. So
yeah, someone told me that. Legends.
And actually, I like the Legends intro. The Flash one is just as good as the other one, but the Legends one is much better than the old one. Let's see. Elijah Colbert goes, did you notice Barry's powers acting up when he got mad in the episode? What were your thoughts on that?
I just think it's either a sign of the whole blood work continuation, or it's just something. I don't know. If anything, like if they did, it could be like a follow on from him being like Dark Flash or Negative Flash, which I wouldn't mind seeing. But it's obviously hinting at something. What it's specifically going to lead to is
anybody's guess.
To wait and find out.
Yeah,
it could be leading up to maybe just the Speed Force being more powerful in some way, shape, or form. Or it's something to do with the negative Speed Force. It's either, I think, the Speed Force being a more powerful source, or it's negative Speed Force.
It's like in the comics, Barry, you have to kill the Speed Force. And then he finds out that it's not really him that's doing it. So, okay, let's go over here. Laura has a comment that I want to talk about. Do you think the Barry will be more secondary storyline and keep Iris handle primary story? So, no, I don't think Iris is going to be the main.
No, I think it's just for this. Should probably get like, I think probably next week, and then that'll probably be it. I think it's just like getting it.
She'll still be around, but she won't be like the main character.
Yeah, it won't be like what we had this episode. And even next episode, I think Barry will still be the main character. He'll just be with Iris.
Yeah. This is interesting. Can we clear this up once and for all here? I feel like we need to clear this up. Didn't Oliver unlock Barry's potential in Crisis? So I am under the impression, maybe you have a different thought on it or whatever, that Oliver didn't do anything really. He just basically cleared Barry's mind of unlocking his potential mentally.
It was literally the placebo flick. You flicked him in the head with placebo.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what it was.
So Oliver didn't have to do anything. Barry is capable of doing all this on his own, and that's kind of what they were pressing at. But I don't think they didn't do a good job of making it clear to the audience, because I've seen that comment so many times on so many of my videos, and it's like, my impression is that Barry could do it anyway. And Oliver just basically said, run, Barry, run. And he did his thing. So moving out of this episode, now that we know a little bit more about these characters and stuff, are we going to see like a real deal, like Rogues team up, do you think, this season or maybe next season? Because I feel like we're heading in that direction with some of these characters.
I don't know. I'm a person who I don't really want to see the Rogues be like an end game thing, because like a big bad, because I just don't think it works, a massive team thing. The only time it ever really worked was Legends in live action, and even then when it really came down to it, it was just them versus Reverse Flash. Like when you think about it. So I don't think I really want that, because individually none of the Rogues, like if Barry's like wants to take him down, he'll take him down. I am interested to see who they bring back this season to be like in an episode or two. Like I really like it, and how they change. Like, are they changed in regards to a different person? Is that character and taking that role that someone else that was in the comics that took that mantle? Or is it in the case of like New 52 Flash, where the Rogues actually were metahumans? They didn't use guns. I know some of the Rogues already are metahumans, but in regards to like Captain Cold doesn't use a gun. He's actually got cold powers. Heatwave doesn't use a gun. He's actually got fire powers and stuff.
Actually,
like
the Captain Cold from Rebirth was my favorite version, the one that could create his own power, create cold himself.
Well, they sort of brought it back.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see if that's the way they go. The fact that they mentioned like Top and Rainbow Raider makes you think that they're going to come back. And if Top comes back and is like the actual comics, that's crazy, because it spins like a freaking top. So doesn't just look at you in a weird way.
Finn says, only talking about Flash tonight. Yes, Pagey has not seen Black Lightning or Legends, so we are just going to talk Flash. And to be honest, there's nothing in either of those shows that I think progresses the Arrowverse stuff. So, I mean, we'll cover them at some point. I don't think this week's episode was good enough to really to do that. We do have our super chat from Silhouetted Animator again, $5 again. Thank you so much for the support. Terrible theory idea. Nergal is part of the reason Astra is bad. So we're talking about Legends. I don't know. I feel like I kind of want the storyline on Legends to be better than what it is right now. And it's not necessarily it's not the worst it has been. I just feel like all the other stuff that Legends does sort of screws it up. I think Astra's just going to be bad. I don't think they're going to really dive into any other stuff. It's just going to be her doing her thing. She wants to be the ruler of hell or whatever. And I think that's the way it's going to go. Do you have any thoughts on Astra from Legends? Because I know you saw last week's episode.
Was she even in last week's episode?
Well, I don't remember if she was, but I know we continue the storyline about the souls in hell and everything like that, not going down and whatnot. I didn't know if you had any thoughts or opinions on it, because tonight's episode did sort of dive into it a little bit, but I mean, what would you like to see? Would you like to see her continue to be the big bad, or would you like to see Nergal be the person pulling the strings? Like, do you have a dog in the fight at all, or no?
I have a dog in the background. I don't really care. To be completely honest, I really don't care. Legends, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it maybe tonight or tomorrow. But it's like one of those things where like, just watch it. Just watch it. Just watch it. And yeah, just watch it.
Jose goes, Caitlin mentioned Gorilla City. Yes, Gorilla City is on Earth Prime. So that's interesting. Didn't really expect that to be a thing, but I guess so. So Dara, this is funny. I like this comment. Who the hell is Astra? LOL. Back to the Flash. Watch Legends. Watch Legends. You'll find out who that character is, or Constantine. So a lot of people were commenting on Legends. You guys, I would love to respond to it, but we're getting ready to wrap this up actually, because Pagey is limited on time. So we're gonna finish it up here. So if anybody else has any questions or comments or super chats, go ahead. In the comment section, let me know what you guys would have scored The Flash out of 10. Whatever you thought of it. Was it a 7, an 8, a 9? It was Iris-centric. Does anybody have a problem with that? She doesn't like Vancouver. RIP Jesse Quick and Wells. 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. Carolyn, this is a good question. Are they going to write Danielle off the show? No, I bet she's not going to be there all the way through the season, I don't think, right? Is that the way it works?
Oh, yeah. She'll probably go on maternity leave, like with a couple of episodes, like 3 or 4 episodes left, maybe.
Shikai at Suya. Yeah, I guess so. 7 out of 10. Iris didn't use the buddy system. So we talked about this last year. Iris just doesn't care. She acts out, and originally it was out of character, kind of, and now it is her character that she just randomly does things without like telling people or doing anything with another person. Maybe she'll learn a lesson this time after getting sucked into a mirror. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So before we wrap this up, what do you think is going to be going on with this Godspeed stuff? Like, do you think we're going to did they forget about it? Are we going to go back to it at some point in the season? Because it literally was in the beginning of the first episode and then nothing else.
I think we'll come back to it, because I don't know why they would show him in that episode, make it clear it's a clone, and then say there's been all these other clones. The biggest thing is that there hasn't been one since then, but there could be a reason for that might come up. So
because didn't some of the black hole stuff deal with cloning in the comics?
It was like replicating.
Yeah.
So, I'm intrigued to see what they do. I guess it's more how they tie it back to the Godspeed stuff, and then why it's been absent for a decent amount of time now.
Oh yeah, Jazzy goes, Iris did leave a note. I get that, but that's that's not the same as like texting somebody. Honestly,
I think if she was doing it, she wouldn't have left a note. I think the only reason she left a note is because Barry's going to be up and she's not back. You know what I mean? It's because she got sucked in the mirror. So I think that's the only reason, script-wise, that she left a note. I think if she was just going out, she probably wouldn't leave a note.
So I don't normally give my scores on my live streams because my video usually goes up the day after. But I'll say I gave this episode like an 8.5 out of 10. I think it was a really good episode. I like numerically, I kind of got to the point where I think my numeric scores don't matter too much, but people always ask me anyway. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10. I feel like that's a pretty confident number for me to go with. So Staggervore goes 499 super chats. Here's a dad joke. What did the sheep say to the farmer when he returned home from vacation? Welcome back.
Okay, well, unlucky for you, Staggervore, I'm actually a mod, so I can hide you from this channel going forward. And you will never be able to comment or super chat again. So you're lucky I am giving you a chance.
Okay, so before we go, we're going to do dad jokes, right? So somebody says 8.5, you're insane. Do you think that's too high of a score? I feel like it was a really good episode.
I'd probably give it like a 9.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
It was the second best episode of the season.
Okay, so you give, we're going to do 2 dad jokes. You go first, I'll go second, and then we'll do that. So go ahead.
I've only got one from the top of my head. What are you if you have an extra large nose, 3 eyes, and 30 teeth?
Extra large nose, 3 eyes, and 30 teeth. I don't know.
Extremely ugly.
There we go. Here goes one of mine. I'm pulling from my deck. I have a whole deck of dad jokes now. Mine is, Doctor, I've broken my arm in several places. The doctor responds, well, you probably shouldn't go to those places. Should we do one more chat? One more dad joke before we wrap it up?
You go ahead. One more.
Some of these, I look at these like before I read them, and I'm like, some of these would get me in trouble. Oh, that's bad. Oh, here goes. This one's a little bit too. You have to think about this one, right? I'm only familiar with 25 letters in the alphabet. I don't know why. Oh, Chessmaster says, Pagey, say another one. Pagey, say another one. They're trying to get you to come up with another one.
Do you know what's cool?
No.
Winter. There you go. There's the last one. Wrap up the stream. Cut it off.
All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for my mods being here, Amethyst, and I don't know if Canada Grab stopped in or not. He'll probably comment on this tomorrow, though. Anyway, thank you guys for all the super chats. I do appreciate it. Pagey's review for The Flash is up right now. You can go over and check it out. I know you guys probably already did, but there we go. Go check it out if you haven't. My review will be up tomorrow. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So have a good night, guys, and we will catch you later.
Farewell.
Peace. What's popping?
What's cracking? Let's go.